Hi lovely, and welcome to the Witch's Cookery. Today I just want to invite you to sit down with me, have a cozy cup of tea and chat a little bit because I have to catch you up on a thing or two, and then I also have 12 golden tips for you when you are being sick, stressed, down on your luck, when you are having a rainy day, or you just need a bit of magical self-care to make yourself feel better. So if you are currently riding the struggle bus, you're in an unlucky streak, not doing so great, and you don't want to be bothered with my woes, then absolutely feel free to jump ahead. I'm gonna link it for you down in the description box. Now, real talk. I'm not gonna lie, the last 6 weeks have been really tough at times. Partly self-induced, and then circumstances, bad luck and sickness played their part in it too. My workload has tripled at the moment just because of events I'm planning, retreats that are coming up, workshops I'm giving, and then a little project that I'm working on right now and that I will update you on in a few weeks. So every day basically already feels like it's 10 hours too short as is. I'm never finishing any of my to-do lists just because it's not humanly possible as a one-woman show. My kids have been sick a lot. We have been in rotation in and out of hospitals and doctors. My husband had to go to be hospitalized twice. While that was stressful and emotional to deal with as is, it also happened at very unfortunate times, like the day before I had to leave to the retreat. I had a house guest here for a week that was not doing great, where I had to take care. And then just last week we were hit with a stomach bug that was the most disgusting thing under the sun. I lose 4 kilos though, so looking at the bright side. Life really has been feeling like I'm constantly walking against the wind. And the past 6 weeks I've been feeling really burnt out and just exhausted, and I can feel it in my body because it's being sick and feeling fragile, and obviously that also affects how I feel emotionally. Now slowly I'm starting to crawl out of that hole again, but I wanted to take today to share some of my magical coping mechanisms with you for days where you might need a little push. When one is not doing great, you oftentimes also don't have much energy. If you're stressed, your day is too full, you don't have really time to do the things that you technically should be doing, like going on a walk and cooking the really healthy food and taking time for self-care. But that's not always our reality, even though I'm a big fan of prioritizing those things, because otherwise you end up in a vicious burnout cycle where you constantly push yourself and push yourself and push yourself while it drains more and more and more of your energy. So here are 12 little things that hopefully boost your luck, get you happier, healthier and more relaxed. When it's not your day or your week or your month, it's always important to remember that this too shall pass. Life is not always the same. There's always ebbs and flows. There's always highs and lows, and they come and go as we sail through life. When we are in the midst of a very low, we often feel it's so hard to crawl out of that again, and sometimes we don't see the silver lining on the horizon. What I like to do is to give myself a visual reminder. If you're into tarot, you might know the card the Wheel of Fortune, which kind of represents just that constant change, the wheel that turns. Sometimes you're on the top, sometimes you're on the bottom, but then you're going up again. You go up, you go down, and so the wheel keeps spinning. In times like these, I like to search that card out in my deck and just put it at a space where I see it often. It might be your altar space, it might be your kitchen table. If you want, you can light a little candle with it as some sort of good luck spell to energetically push that lever again. And when you feel that pressure or anxiety or hopeless feeling creep in, sit at that spot and just meditate for 5 minutes with that. And while you have your oracle or tarot deck in hand, you can also do a little uplifting tarot reading, either to receive some guidance on your current situation and what you could do just now to help you move out of it, or what is waiting for you in the future. And that ties nicely into my tip number 2, and that is to focus on gratitude. Even when we're doing really badly, there are still things in life that are blessings that we can be happy about, that we might not even see as something special because we have it all the time, but that for other people would completely be out of their reach. Think simple things that can be full-on gratitude journaling if you're up for it, or you can just do it in your head and challenge yourself to find 3 things that you are very happy to have. And I was last week on my bedroom floor in the middle of the night after having slept for 3 days with my daughter and me both with a fever, puking. Everything was just covered in nastiness. We were doing so horribly. I gave her something for the fever and for the dehydration, and I thought to myself, how lucky I am to live in a country where that is available and where little kids don't have to die from contracting norovirus, for example, which in other countries where people don't have access to clean water is very much a reality. Of course, it doesn't have to be something that dramatic, but what that does is that it shifts your perspective from the suffering to something that is positive and worthwhile, the blessings in your life. And this instantly lifts your heart a little bit, makes you feel a little bit better. Don't forget to notice the little rays of sunshine between all this shit. When I'm not doing great, my number 1 witch potion is, of course, tea. Needless to say, a lot of herbs and ingredients that you can make your tea from do have medicinal properties that can help ease some of the symptoms you're experiencing, but additionally it can give you 5 to 10 minutes to find some time to care for yourself in a little tea ceremony, for example. And it doesn't have to be super fancy, it literally just means taking a cup that brings you joy. It is broken, but I love the flowers. Boil water and then sort through your herb apothecary or through your tea cabinet and pick out a tea that can give you that healing or that comfort. A lot of times you hear people speak about plant spirit, and what that also means to me is basically just a visual that I have in my head while I consume said herb or tea. Linden flower transports me right back into my childhood, that sweet scent of summer and sunshine. Whenever I drink it, I picture that spirit lady rising out of that cup and just lifting me up into the clouds and into the sunshine. Or when I think chamomile, I think summer fields and walking and gathering all the wild chamomile that grows next to the paths. It's very gentle and calming. Elderflower, a plant rich in folklore, invites me to sit back and dream and escape reality for a moment. Have that tea and feel that effect and invite those visions in for a moment. Feel, taste, heal. Number 4, and it's a golden one, especially if you're sick or if you're very stressed, and that is to do a body scan. A body scan is just a sort of meditation where you lie down and then you really check in with every body part. You see, how are my toes feeling? How are my knees feeling? How is my chest feeling? How is my head feeling? Because oftentimes we're so removed from our physical body and what it needs and what it tries to communicate with us and where it's tensed up and where it's hurting, because we're just hassling through life, we're just going through without ever stopping and thinking and feeling, that when we get sick and when we then actually feel the pains, they're already at a level that is quite elevated. So if you feel that stress and sickness coming on, take the 5 minutes it takes to just lay down and feel out your body, and then you can also act accordingly to the messages you get. If you notice a lot of tension in your shoulders, you can try and slow your day a little bit down. Find moments of relaxation. If you feel like your eyes are really hurting or you have a headache coming on, put that phone away, stop with the scrolling. Do the body that carries you through life the service of listening to it and paying attention to its cues. If you're unsure how to do a body scan by yourself, you can also choose to just listen to a guided body scan, for example, that you can follow along. And for that, of course, I have an app for you that is wonderful if you are feeling shit. It's called Aura. I've been using it since years now, and it has everything a little witchy poo would need for their mental health, spirituality, self-actualization, manifestation, and also to heal and rest and sleep very well. On Aura you find meditations, visualizations for different topics, coaching sessions about stress, eating, emotions, parenting, find wonderful sleep stories, relaxing ambient sounds, breath work, ASMR, and so much more. It gets to know you with time, customizes what it features for you, and especially if you have low energy or not doing well, it's so easy to just whip out your phone, take 5 minutes to sit down and charge up your batteries again with something uplifting, something that feeds your soul, something that fills your cup. Personally, I use it every night to fall asleep to, and if you now want to give it a try too, I have a code that I'm gonna put you in the description box that gives you a free trial and an exclusive 25% off for the first 500 people to click the link. And speaking of meditations and visualizations, these are all wonderful tools that you can implement to make yourself feel better, because even though the not feeling good might sit in your body, it all starts also in your mind, and so is the healing journey. If you now, while you're watching this, are actually feeling good and high of energy, tip number 5 might be the one for you, because you need to prepare it before you can use it. And that's to make a magical little emergency box where you put all the things that you know will make you feel good when you're really not doing well. Just take a shoebox or a little basket and put everything in, depending on what you're usually suffering from, if it's now stress, if it's implication of mental health, if it's chronic disease, if it's just, the common cold, whatever it might be, you can pack it accordingly. So there might be mundane things in there like tissues or like bottled water, pain or fever medication, and so on. And then of course you can also add a bit of magic. You can make those little oil rollers with infused herbs and spices or magical little crystals for different purposes, to combat nausea or headaches, to just make yourself feel a bit more self-love, feel more alert, or to uplift bad mood. You might put little tea sachets in there with pre-made mixtures for different ailments, a magically stitched worry puppet that you can whisper all your woes to when you're not feeling good. If you use crystals for certain purposes, you can pack them in as well. If you have a deck of oracle cards that you find is very gentle and nurturing, throw that in as well. You can also include a list with little things that bring you joy, so you don't forget them when you're feeling blue. And then when you're really feeling bad, you take out that box and you have everything there to help you feel a little bit better. This next one I have been doing a lot and I find it so helpful, and it is to do a tiny bit of solar magic. Very simply, get out into the sun, especially in those moments when you're super stressed and you think, I don't have time for this now, or those moments where you just want to draw the blanket over your head and disappear, or you barely feel like walking. And I don't mean like necessarily go out, but open a window, be on your balcony, whatever is possible in direct sunlight, and just close your eyes. And personally, I love to stretch out my arms so the sun can fully hit my chest, and stay there for 3 minutes, charging up with that solar energy. I promise you, when you're done with that, you will feel like a whole new person. If you want to take a little bit of that sunshine away with you, you can, for example, charge up a crystal or a necklace or whatever else you have, maybe a water bottle that you're drinking, so you can take that energy, that feeling with you when you're going inside again. Now, before we take in new energy, oftentimes it also helps to cleanse old energy first. And now I'm not going to recommend to burn any herbs right now, because if you're sick, you might not necessarily need all that extra smoke in your nasal cavities. But I'm giving you a magic in a mundane tip where you can check off 2 things with 1 activity. It's all about efficiency. Have a cleansing shower. Wash yourself, first of all, because it will make you feel much better. And then secondly, do it intentionally. Before you step into the shower, you think about, what do I need to let go of? What feeling, what emotion, what energy, what circumstance do I want to rid myself of? And then step into the shower, let the water flow over you and wash it all down the drain, so you come out squeaky clean and ready to be filled with whatever good energy you then can conjure up. Another way to cleanse energy that helped me a lot, because when it was so stressful, my house looked like a war zone. It looked horrible. I had stuff piling up everywhere. It was so dirty. 30 washes worth of laundry just scatter around. And this creates a lot of inner unrest in me too. And it makes me feel worse. So obviously when we're not feeling great, we don't want to immediately clean our entire house because we likely don't have the energy for that either, or the time. But pick a small area, ideally the area that you're in the most. If that's now your bed because you're sick, wash your sheets. Make sure everything there looks more or less decent. If it's your desk because you're working, you're super stressed, make sure that everything there looks lovely. Maybe put some fresh flowers there. Make sure it's cleaned and organized to some degree. And while you get that washed or cleaned or organized, clear away the negative energy with your thoughts. Intentionally push it away, sort it away. Open the window, let it out. Number 8, give yourself permission to do nothing. And a lot of people struggle with that because we are so drilled into always doing something that's efficient, or that's something that we have to do, or that's on our to-do list. And a lot of people feel guilty when they actually literally just do nothing and rest and give your body and mind the break that it needs. So how can you give yourself permission to rest? First of all, you could put it on the top of your to-do list. Before you haven't rested for X amount of time, you're not allowed to do anything else. Like, rest like it's your job. Make a nest. Get cozy. Get in the most comfortable things. And then also put your phone away. The phone can be such a sucker of energy, especially social media that we scroll through. Rest in a way that really recharges you. That's not just a procrastination method or like a quick fix. Maybe it's reading a good book or listening to a lovely audiobook, watching a wonderful movie or a series that really fills your heart. Coincidentally, when I was so sick, Bridgerton season 3 just came out, so that was a lucky little coincidence. Stare out the window, or if you really have issues with just doing nothing, maybe do something like a meditation or a mindfulness exercise so your brain still thinks you're doing something because you are doing something while you're also resting and giving yourself space to breathe. One way that I have been really recharging and getting myself out of that hole again in the last few days is to ground in a proper way. There are many, many ways to ground yourself. Grounding is essentially just reconnecting with yourself and with the world around you, or the natural world around you. Finding that inner calm, that inner peace, that feeling of just being in the moment. My tried and tested ways from the last few days were to work with plants, repot stuff, and care for my houseplants that also have been suffering because I just didn't have the time. Make your hands dirty with the soil and smell the earth, or cuddle a pet or a child or a partner, or lay with a weighted blanket. To reduce stress, it's great to just step outside barefoot, because especially if that's not something you do every day, that will directly transport you back to carefree childhood days where you would run over summer meadows with your bare feet. It makes you feel the texture and temperature of the ground. It gets you more into your body and less into your head. Of course, you could also walk outside or bring plants and fresh flowers in. Find a way that you like to ground and it works well for you. Another important tip when you're already running low and energy levels are, it's so important to protect your energy. To protect your energy from certain people, from certain environments, and also from tasks. So saying no and knowing your limits and not putting more onto your plate than you can chew. So important. Practice saying no when you are not feeling well. Do not overcommit. And if you have some struggles with that on a mundane level, help along with a little bit of protection magic, whatever that might look like. A little bit of black salt, or lighting your protective candle, or visualizing that bubble of bright light around you. And speaking of spell work, tip number 11, focus on joy and on the future. Before, we have talked about the Wheel of Fortune, how it's always turning up and down and up and down. There will be good times again. There will be times where you feel less stressed, where you feel healthier, where you feel more in your power. It might help you to focus on the future and not so much on how you're feeling in the very moment. So maybe you can come up with a little fun spell for something that you're excited about, or a good luck spell to draw in that better fortune again. Personally, I like to just light a green candle for that purpose because it really gives me something positive and hopeful to look at, and then I might take pen and paper and just do a little bit of scripting. Scripting is a manifestation technique where you just basically dream up the future. And last but not least, I cannot let you go without saying that, because obviously Kitchen Witch here is to enchant your food. Obviously, if you have the energy for it, to nourish your body correctly in those times, to really eat all the protein and veggies and carbs and micros that you need to get in, that is wonderful. But if you do not have the energy for that, it doesn't matter either way, because you can absolutely also do what I'm about to say with takeout, and it is to enchant your food or infuse it with an intention, with a little blessing. Speaking a little blessing over your food is definitely undervalued. What that does is, first of all, forces you to think about what you want, so your intention. It makes you think about how you want to feel. It makes you envision that. Secondly, it helps you slow down and mindfully eat, which is always wonderful for body, mind and spirit, getting you in that mindful flow. And then of course it gives you that extra little bit of magic with everything you put in your mouth. I do very much hope this was helpful to you. I'll now go and rest a bit more and hopefully be back with all my energy by next week. Have a wonderful magical day. Bye!